Hello and welcome to another StarCraft 2 co-op video. Today we'll be looking at another post from a Chinese forum about the upcoming mutation. For this mutation, choosing the right commander isn't particularly difficult, but the room for error is extremely low. As such, from a practical perspective, I don't recommend solo queue. The following is a relatively detailed analysis. The TLDR is this. Map knowledge. Know the prop spawn timings. 2. Stop attack waves, especially the 8-minute and 14-minute waves that go to the expos. Do not let them see the expo. 3. Put some defenses at ESO Island to prevent instant defeat. 4. At the beginning of the game, Zeratul should cancel the auto gas geysers, and the player on the right should build his stuff on the left side if possible. Main post below. Speed freaks plus props. Props spawn from Amon's buildings. They can touch the player's units or buildings and turn them into themselves. The new copies inherit the same HP value. After spawning, they will attack the nearest building belonging to a player, unless a player's unit just happens to be in their attack range. Since Speed Freaks makes props move at max speed, base defense lines go down in an instant. As such, the main principle when dealing with props is, you must tightly defend against props or hide structures in advance. Once props enter your base, you are toast. For players who go on offense, you must have good map knowledge. When props are about to spawn, stay away from structures so the props don't attack the player's units. Defending players should ensure that their structures are on high ground and that the expos don't get seen by the attack waves. That way you just need to defend against props from the front door. If your expo buildings get seen, then you will have the problem where props come from the right, which is explained later. Then you will have to split paths to defend. Generally, before 20 minutes, the left expo won't really get seen as long as you don't let the 8 or 14-minute wave see it. You can check the wiki for prop spawn timings. The actual spawn times are 2 seconds earlier than the times written on the charts. The special timings are at 12 minutes when props start coming in 2s, and at 20:30 when they start coming in 4s. Also, the attack wave at 20:30 may go to the expo. This is uncertain because in some runs they go to an expo and some they don't. As such, it is best to finish the mission before 20 minutes or hide structures and push slowly. I'll talk about hiding structures later. Some players use the worker wall technique to trap props. However, this needs precise aggro control. Unless you're in a duel, I don't recommend this method. Just straight up have one person attack and one defend. For defense, use a commander that has special ways to deal with props to be safe. If you're interested, you can check out the reference videos below. Hiding structures to avoid speed props and the logic behind it. Amon will get vision of all your structures during the first few seconds after the game starts. However, after that, as long as Amon's units don't get vision of your buildings, he won't know where they are. If Amon doesn't know where any of your buildings are, the props will just stay still until a player's units get close, or if a player drops a building in Amon's vision. For example, Sirius or Nova's turrets, Nova's defense drone, cannon projection, etc., which will lure the props over. ESOs and bio launchers and other static defenses will reveal themselves to Amon once they deal damage. After being seen by Amon, Dahaka's worms will still be chased by Amon's props even if you deep tunnel them away. So this means you do not want to deep tunnel them to a place where you don't want them to see. Cannon projections won't reveal the location of the main structure. If you're interested, check out this page here. It's a wiki page. As such, do your best to stop props in their path, especially the 8 and 14-minute waves that attack the expos. Do not let them see anything in your expos. However, if there are some air units in an attack wave, especially phoenixes, they will fly directly to the natural. With speed freaks, if you don't have air units, it might be difficult to stop them. As such, this will result in props coming straight from the right side, which will be discussed later. If you encounter this situation, you have no choice but split some of your units to the natural and defend against props on the path to the right natural as well. If the left natural is seen, consider checking out a video where Zagara P1, which is a recommended commander, puts structures away from the high ground entrance to defend. This way, you can have all the props go to the middle rather than the expos. When the game gets to around 10 minutes, both players should have some structures at the ESO area at 12 o'clock. This will prevent you from instantly losing if things get out of control. RTKs and cannons are on the weaker side, so you might be able to beat them. However, you also have to have a way to drop structures, for example, defensive drone, raven turrets, or hide workers, so that when you attack, you can lure the props inside that base away. If you want to be lazy, aside from Swan, Phoenix, and Carax, all other commanders can destroy their starting structures and remake them. Then, as long as you ensure that the enemies don't see any structures, the props will not attack. Phoenix and Carax are included in the exceptions because they cannot kill their Conclave or Solar Forge. If you destroy them, they will just be rebuilt in the same spot. Han Horner is not included in the exceptions because if the Dominion starport is really destroyed and a new one is built, it is not considered the original one. You can finally see the benefits of outdated Tyrant tech. The problem where props come from the right side. Props will only take the shortest path to a structure that they have vision of. Therefore, in most cases, they will only attack the mains from the middle path. And if a prop spawns on the high ground in the bottom right and a player has some buildings on the right side, to the prop, these buildings are along the shortest path, and thus the prop will go directly to the right side of the player's base rather than the middle. I did a similar simulation. An approximate safety line is this line from the right gas. So see the picture. Right here, this line from the right gas. So let's shrink this. This is the safety line. So here, put structures to the left of this line if possible, making sure that it's to the left of the safety line. So let's get this back here. All right, here. Also, make sure you don't let Amon see the gas on the right side. If a Zeratul player spawns on the right side, he has to manually cancel the gas, then remake it. This will prevent the attack wave from going up the high ground and seeing the structure, causing the props to come from the right side. I don't get this cause and effect. I don't get this connection. If you're in a duel and you have a hero commander that doesn't need a lot of economy, if you consider the enemy's air units, consider giving up the right expo so that the props won't come from the right path. I don't get this either. Guide videos. So if you want to watch a guide, I strongly recommend Tutu's guide from last time. This is the most detailed guide I have seen. So this one is the one that I have for walling, if you want to wall. I have a new one, which is not here, so you will see it soon. Recommended commanders. The commanders who are good at everything, Zagara P1, P3, see post 17, which I will show you later. If I have anything to add, it's to get a lair ASAP, then get the Baneling double damage upgrade. I also recommend getting both Overlord upgrades, then bring some drones and queens to the ESO area and make a hatchery. From there, Scourge don't have to fly a long distance. Best if you tell your ally to go there and make some buildings as well to prevent instant loss if you can't defend against the props. The time to attack will always be right after props spawn. If the enemy is Terran or Zerg, throw in some Overlords to lead the way and then Scourge follow behind and crash into shards. Irradiate and Fungal cooldowns are both 15 seconds. It's best if you check out the wiki above to see where the Vessels and Vipers are. If you want to use bio launchers on a shard, I recommend this video. So this is where I used Zagara P1 against Fleet of the Matriarch. Make a base below the expo ramp, add some bio launchers to defend against props. This can combine the props' 2 attack paths into 1. Dahaka P3. If you can't micro very well, first get Dahaka to level 5 and just have Suihaka pick up trash until level 3 so he can roar. Level 1's roar slow is 10 spaces and level 2 is 9. Honestly, I would switch them around and have Suihaka out, Dahaka at home, because the revival is dependent on Dahaka's level, not his level. Even if you don't get experience with him, you can just stay back and roar when the props are together. When props are in range, first roar to slow them down by 75%, then eat. Stay calm and grasp the roar's distance. Even an old guy like me can do it. Take out the first shard with the hero unit and worms. Take out the second set with the hero and top bars. Summon 2 at most, leave 1 for attack waves. Even though the 3-pack leaders won't get eaten by props, their spawns will, so pull them away beforehand. At this time, if you have good map knowledge, you can have 1 Haka roar and eat when a prop spawns. When you push the second set, you will most likely deal with the 8-minute wave and the 758 prop. Plan in advance how you will split up to summon a pack leader to deal with the wave and where to put a Haka to eat the prop. Afterwards, the hero units and pack leaders mainly deal with attack waves and props, leave the shards to creeper hosts. First make 11 impalers to defend the high ground. So this is the math. Then make creeper hosts. Like Zagara, wait until props spawn, then send the creeper hosts locusts in. After you take out the bottom shard in the third area, crawl over to the ESO area and take out the rest. Abathur P0. Put all toxic nests at the entrance, make guardians and devourers to attack the bases. When props are about to spawn, move away from the structures. I recommend making vipers on top of everything to help out in case there are leaks. If the enemy is a ground comp, you should put toxic nests at the spot behind the second set of shards where the waves go. If you don't, you have to ensure that the 8 and 14-minute waves don't go to the expos to prevent the props from running wildly. Offense commanders. Manx P3. For tech, you need to get a Ghost Academy so the Aegis Guard can slow. After you drop workers in the ESO area, fill up 4 bunkers with blue guns and make a barracks to get 2 Aegis Guards, 1 for each side, then fire your ESOs. Tygus. If a prop gets close, get in a medevac immediately and let your ally at home deal with it. Turrets attract props, so if you're the attacker, don't use them. I know that props can even, pros can even solo and do various things with Sam to toy with props, but this isn't something that an old guy like me can do. One time on the street, I saw a box stepping game from the Nokia days, but when I thought about playing it again, I realized my brain can't follow along anymore. Nova P3. Destroy structures, liberators, take out shards. In the mid to late game, you can use tanks to help defend against props. Defensive drone attracts props, so don't use it mindlessly. Defense commanders. Rainer, fast factory, make a few vultures, then make a tech lab. I reject my humanity, Jojo. Zeratul P3 plus Nova P3. Mine a few hundred minerals as usual in the beginning. Use the Telbrus Legion on the first wave, then destroy your base before 3:30. Remember to leave a building. I recommend putting it at the left expo. Nova can expand to the left expo, then make Liberators and Ravens. Ravens only throw turrets when you need to lure props away from an enemy base. You still need to proactively defend against the 8 and 14-minute waves that attack the expos. However, when the attack waves can't find any ally buildings, they will go towards any enemies that attack their buildings, aside from Nova's defense destruction drone. What? You need Mr. Spin to win to be ready to deal with them. At around 10 minutes, Zeratul can put a monolith at the ESO area. Nova can destroy her own Ghost Academy when the nuke is on CD and build a new one at the ESO area. Don't worry, the Ghost Academy's nuke is just an animation. Nova won't reveal her location to Amon. By doing this, you pretty much can't lose. Last reminder, if you spawn on the right side, remember to cancel your gases and rebuild them. So this is post 8, so we're gonna skip a few. There are a lot of just not so important talk. So here we are. Even though it's missing We Move Unseen, it doesn't mean speed props are easy to deal with. Rainer, mass spider mines. Hopefully the attack waves are mostly ground units, so they will also get dealt with. Remember to make Vikings to deal with ravens, overseers, and other detectors. The cat is meowing. You thought you heard things, you're not crazy. Kerrigan, everything will be fine as long as the props don't come together with the attack waves, or else you'll have to snipe it with P3, but it'll be hard to click on it. So this is kind of like a Counter-Strike test. You just click on the right enemy. Artanis, wait for the props to spawn, then use your Sea of Tempest to snipe shards. So you're not really defending at all here. Swan P1 make towers. Enemies will have difficulty moving an inch. Some extra knowledge. Towers' vision is far greater than their range. Sagara. Burrowing Banes and waiting for props to sacrifice themselves is considered basic play. I don't know why you would burrow them, but okay. If your ally is good at defense, then just F2A. However, you still have to avoid the props that you need to avoid. Karax. Pick this commander after you become accurate at firing orbital strikes. However, it's best for you to use SimCity to trap props, which is a worker wall. Nova. Another mutation where liberators snipe shards. As for fighting props, remember to switch to assault mode and dance inside the liberator circle, or buy some mines and get tanks for free. Do not do this. This is dumb. You can switch from assault mode to stealth mode and pew the props because you're invincible for like 2 seconds. Abathur, toxic nests are actually structures. Put one in Amon's vision and you can lure all the props like they're hungry cats. I'm guessing this assumes you are doing a dead base cheese or hidden base cheese. For Zoom, mass DTs time stop rush in. DTs cannot be hit during Shadow Fury. Use this to take out props. However, getting past the early game is a problem. Do not do this. This is dumb. Don't do this. You should use cannons and black hole and oracles. Hana Horner. Horner fleet snipes shards. Rely on your ally for the rest. It's like this when you have no defensive capabilities. Hellions Fasto is actually a great defense against props, so should try it out. Stukov, if you don't choose P1 Diamondbacks, then you're just waiting to eat shit. You should make queens. Make Diamondbacks later. Queens are very good. You just pew pew and the prop is gone. Alarak, Mind Blast and Psionic Orb. Now it depends on whether or not you can Mind Blast the prop, so whether or not you can click properly. Or you can Force Field, but that's also hard. Tychus, as long as your mouse can click on a prop, Sam can delete them. The rest is just pushing as usual. Dahaka, do you like my untargetable pack leaders, untargetable by the prop, and my intercontinental missiles? Phoenix, using the Rock Slapper to destroy shards requires you to know when the props spawn. You can also use scouts to snipe shards. Okay, sure. Manx, pair up with a swan and make ESOs at the designated area to beat the mutation. Don't forget to put 3 to 5 bunkers full of troopers. I saw in another video that 5 full bunkers with blue guns is enough to stop without an Aegis guard. You can have 6. Stetman, P1 Statelites become invincible and then F2A. It's best to let the props through so the Banes at home can take care of it. Do not use Infestors in this mutation. Zeratul, Ambushers Dance, attack shards from the back whenever possible. Alright, and then we go to post number 17. So that's the one over here. I'll post again after I meme around. I think that's what it says. I'll drop some knowledge to help the OP. For the vast majority of players, Zagara is the best choice for this mutation. This is determined by her mechanisms, the way the commander plays. Positioning. If you think you don't play Zagara well, focus completely on defense. Maintain max supply of Banes at home. Evenly split some to the expos to cover the 3 paths. Note that the path to the right expo is rather wide and the props from the top left might sneak past and get to the minerals. Defending against the props and attack waves is already contributing 50% or more in this mutation. Prestige. P1 and P3 are both equally good. P1 has more Banes, so defense is stronger. However, it doesn't have so much that you can flatten aim on spaces and still have enough to stop props from getting in your face. As such, your main attack method will be using Scourge to snipe shards. With P1, I suggest attacking the second area from the front. If you don't, every time the Scourge go around the side, they will easily get attacked by Corsairs. Snipe the shards from the back starting with the 3rd set. P3's offense capabilities are stronger. With enough time, the hero unit can take out a shard. But if the hero unit dies too many times, you might run out of time. So this is better suited for proficient players. You have to make lings and turn them into banelings more frequently, really testing your discipline. Enemy comp. Regardless of Zagara's prestige, the difficulty is Protoss is weaker than Terran, which is far weaker, or Zerg is far stronger. If you aren't confident, restart once you see Zerg. Since you're mainly upgrading stuff for banelings in the mutation, ground enemies will be easier than air. Build order. When the game starts, build a gas, then get some drones, pool, drones, bling nest, overlord. When gas is almost done, saturate it with 3 workers. With this build order, Banes would just barely come out at 210, in time to deal with the first wave. You might be short on minerals when you add more workers afterwards. It's very easy to forget about overlords, but you must make them or else your baneling count is likely to get bottlenecked. Because, if you're supply blocked, you don't get free banelings. Another build order. Game start, make some drones, gas, drones, pool, drones, bling nest, overlord. The Banes will just barely be ready at 220, usually after. You don't lose eco, but there's a bit of gambling. The trade-off for being 10 seconds late is that some attack waves might rush onto the high ground and split up. As a result, the Banes might not blow all of them up. However, you won't be short on minerals when you add workers later. Upgrades. Aside from P3 prioritizing the HP upgrade, you should prioritize getting Bane damage, then Bane speed. Also, don't stop getting ground weapon upgrades. These are key to saving money on Banes. Bow launchers. As always, I recommend making bio launchers at the top of the left expo. Not only is trading 650 and 550 for a shard worth it, you also open up a path for Scourge on the left side. Bio launchers in the ESO area, however, is just meh this week. If you want to build bio launchers there, you first have to make a hatchery, make some lings, and then turn them into banes to defend the entrances, then open fire. It's rather slow, costly, and easy to get destroyed. I highly recommend using bio launchers for defense. When I soloed this, the biggest reason for losing is the attack waves wasting too many of my units. Not enough banes, so the props attack my base. Or I don't have enough Scourge, so I couldn't snipe the shards, etc. Put 5 to 6 bio launchers at each entrance. Be ready to fire them when dealing with attack waves. This will greatly reduce unit losses and something else. Shard order and timing. It's best to wait for props to spawn, then charge in. This gives you the most time to spare. Within the same area, prioritize taking out the farthest shard to avoid the prop going from around the back and seeing you. I hope that everyone beats this in one try. And that's it for this post. What advice do you have for this mutation? Comment it down below and I'll see you next time.